Today we got a new mouse from the Logitech MX Master series. This is the 2S model, and it brings some significant changes. Logitech sometimes leaves products for years and years and years with little to no changes. Same electronics inside them, maybe a little bit of cosmetic changes. This one actually has some real functional differences. The biggest visual thing, other than like the materials are a little different, and you got this kind of I don't know, like the geometry change here with the part where you hold there, and it's no longer a soft material. The big change is this horizontal scroll wheel here that you use with your thumb, and it's programmable too. Most of the this grade of product from Logitech is going to be programmable via software, not usually right on the mouse. You still have the little button here that lets you change the scroll wheel between free scroll and clicky scroll. And it's basically a built-in fidget spinner. I think that's how most people use it. I can't functionally use the mouse like that, never have been able to on any of the Logitech mouses that have that feature, but I like the feature. You know why? It's just fun to click it back and forth, while you're just looking at a web page or you're just thinking about something. It's a mouse with built-in fidget spinner. I'm not kidding you. Predates fidget spinners by a lot. Anyways, let's dive into this mouse and find out what they've changed in detail, get it out of this box, and try it out. Alright, first up, let's see what you get in this box. So if you're just looking at the store, they have this nice magnetic flip open thing. You can see the little anywhere dongle here, and interesting thing with a lot of new Logitech products, you can actually buy multiple and plug them into more than one device. I believe this mouse can pair up to 3 different dongles, and yeah, anyways, let's see what's in the box. So let's pop this right open here. Alright, so nothing more in that box. Nice and easy to get in here. Packaging is fairly easy. There's a little bit of some tape that you got to remove, and like I said, one of the big changes here right away you see is this material is kind of soft, but it's not the old kind of soft that we had on the other one. I like this new, very ergonomic, wide scrolling wheel here. And we got the oh yeah, of course, when there's no power, you cannot switch the modes. And okay, look at this. We got a sticker to pull off here. It tells you where to go. Logitech.com/options. It shows you, the easy switch there. You can press it for 3 seconds to change devices, and it does support Bluetooth, you can see on here. So you can rip that right off here. So the switching between receivers, you can program up to 3, and one of those could be Bluetooth. And right here we have a switch here to turn it on. So now you see blinking 1. I guess we're showing you how to connect this thing. So right now the dongle is not plugged into anything, so it's just going to keep blinking. Anyways, we can go ahead and turn her off here. On the front you see you have the micro USB, and on the side here you have your back and forward button and that horizontal scroll. Ooh, it feels like almost weighted. That's a real nice feel. Same with this one. Like, it's a quality. This one actually feels almost higher quality. I really like that. Anyways, let's see what's in the box. So yes, we have your Logitech receiver here, the little tiny mini one, or micro, or whatever you want to call it. The cord is a different style. It has a more of a rounded, a little more premium connector. The plastic, compared to the old model, is it's a different style. The old one had a really bulky charging end that connected to the mouse. And sorry, I'll hold it up a little closer if the camera will focus for us. Oh gee. Alright, well, I'll stick it down here. But it feels more like the design of some of the USB-C cords, but this is definitely a micro B. And you get this little manual here if the instructions on that little sticker on the bottom of the mouse were not good enough. Anyways, not a whole lot in the box. Nice touch here on this cable. It does have a Velcro on it, so you can keep your cable neat and tidy. One thing I see people do with this mouse all the time is leave it plugged in all the time. And you can, because the USB receiver is right at the front. And let's just plug it in here and see. Oop, yeah. It's a little... Oh, no, yeah, it's a nice sturdy connection. It's going to stay in there really good. Has nice firm little locking mechanism. I really like the look of this mouse. I think the aesthetics are much improved. It really does look modern. It reminds me of some of HP's I think is it the Spectre series design or something like that. Some of the HP products I've seen that have this kind of geometric pattern. I really like it. It looks good. Anyways, let's check out how this mouse performs in Windows. When you first plug in the Logitech MX Master 2S on Windows 10, you're going to get greeted with this Logitech Options software download prompt or install prompt automatically. If you're not on Windows 10, you need to go to logitech.com, go to support, driver downloads, look up the mouse, and then we're going to jump right into that software. So the latest software that comes with the MX Master is called Options, Logitech Options, and you get this Logitech green, this new green color that they've really adopted, this green and gray and black kind of color scheme. We're going to not share, but you're welcome to do so if you want to. So this software is a different piece of Logitech software than you would have had with previous Logitech mice. This is new to the current, I guess, series or just the 2017 lineup from Logitech. This software has some new features you've never seen with a Logitech mouse before, unless you've, again, used some of the more recent products. They have a product called Flow, which is very like many other popular pieces of software that allow you to basically use your mouse on multiple computers. And you see there's a Flow tab up at the top here. This basically means you might have a laptop and a desktop at home, and you could use one mouse with both of them just by dragging your mouse to the edge of the screen. And there's a brief, less than a second delay, and then all of a sudden your mouse is on the other computer. It's really nice, and it works as long as they're on the same network. You can also use, again, the button on the bottom to sync up to 3 different devices, either using a Logitech unifying receiver or using Bluetooth, which is very nice, that Bluetooth thing, because if you have a laptop with Bluetooth, you don't have to plug up maybe one of the only ports on the laptop in 2017 with or whatever year it currently is when you're watching this video, with the USB receiver. So here we have a nice, just jumping back to the software here, gesture button. So one thing you couldn't see just looking at it, there is a button there, and you can just press down, and oh yeah, you get a little overview of everything you could open. Anyways, and you get your mode shift button, and then you get your middle button, middle click on here. Actuation force on all these is very reasonable. Yeah, and as usual, this mode shift button it feels exactly the same as it did before. You can switch between clicky and smooth scroll. The horizontal scroll here, now I like the fact they give you some other options here, because the only thing I can think horizontal scroll is useful for, when what we use our computers for mostly is web browsers, and if websites are modern and they're using modern scalable designs that are designed to be used on a mobile phone or on a desktop or on a laptop, horizontal scroll doesn't really have a place anymore. There's not a lot of websites that need to horizontally scroll. Most are vertical scroll, which you use the standard scroll wheel for. But what you'll see this is useful for is applications that have built-in support for swiping type actions. This is going to let you basically swipe with your mouse in a lot of those applications, which is super useful. And if you don't use those kind of applications, you get some really good options here. Zoom in, zoom out, volume up, volume down. If you're a DJ, that could be super useful to have like a quick volume switch on your mouse. You get one hand keyboard, one hand on the mouse. I could see that working for, or you're just listening to music at work and you want to turn it down when your nosy boss comes around. uh, yeah, and stuff like switch applications, switch between desktops. I love those kind of features. Increase decrease brightness. I don't think I'd map that one, but that's interesting. Interesting options they give you. These forward and back keys, I almost always remap those. I absolutely hate if you bump one of those. Say you just filled out one of those egregiously long forms online, when you're trying to check out at a website where you're buying some cool new, electronics, and then you accidentally go back and you have to retype everything. Yeah, those buttons, I always accidentally press them. I like to remap them. On this mouse, though, they are really tucked. They're tiny. They're not like your thumb doesn't rest on them, and they're out of the way, so I might try just leaving them. So point and scroll, let's see what options we get. Smart Shift. What is this? I honestly don't know what Smart Shift is. I'm guessing that has to do with the pointer speed. I can tell you the pointer control on this mouse is really smooth. I like it better than the previous MX Master already. This, I have a gaming mouse right beside it. I think I could game on this mouse. This is not a gaming mouse, but I'm someone who I use office productivity apps. I do a lot of gaming. I like mice that can kind of balance both, like that have the good DPI for gaming and who have really good control for when I'm just clicking on little things on forms or in Excel or and just they're ergonomic like this mouse here. I would say this one scores high so far just in this little test here on ergonomics. I feel very comfortable using it. The only thing I would say right now is I'm not sure with the basically just how it feels in terms of the material. I think I like the old materials on the previous one a little bit better. But anyway, so scroll wheel direction. We can invert. I cannot understand why I would want that. Smooth scrolling, this is something most people, you're going to want to leave that disabled. I'm glad they have that disabled. What that does is it basically, instead of scrolling down like as if you had, you just want to scroll a little ways, it kind of slows it down and makes it smooth. Kind of like if you had an iPad and you're just gradually swiping up or swiping down. So I don't think I'd want to change that. All these defaults seem pretty good. Let's see what the more is. You can just turn off notifications. You can see the version of the software, and you could opt into analytics, which we're not going to do. Flow now. We don't have a computer right here to set this up with, and this video is not about reviewing Flow. But it's important to know, like the demo here where they show the cursor jumping back and forth, it is a feature that's there, and I really like that it's included, it's just bundled with this mouse. This kind of software could cost you, up to $100 depending on which product you buy on the market. There's a bunch of them. Not going to mention any of them by name because those guys are not sponsoring this. This video is not about that. I'm really, really big props to Logitech for including this. I have no idea though how good it works and how is it compared to the other ones out there. It says you can copy paste text, images, and files. That's one of the key features a lot of these things make you pay for versus other free versions on the internet. One thing is how consistently does this do this, and I think a limitation of this might be Windows only. I didn't see any download option for Linux, but I haven't dug around for it. The other thing is how is the latency, and yeah, and just like there's some other really important things like is that information encrypted or is it just plain text? So if you copy a password, is that going over the network you're on? What if you're connected to public Wi-Fi and you're using you have the software installed, and every time you copy paste a password out of like a password manager, is that going plain text like anybody snooping could read it? I don't know, but that's some stuff I would definitely look into before you actually use this. That's a really important difference between sometimes the free software and the pay for software. But anyways, real big props to Logitech for including that software. Anyways, so that's been the Logitech MX Master 2S. Nice simple name.
I really like it when they have simple names. Apparently Logitech's not Logitech anymore. They're going by Logi. They really got a whole lot of new branding going out this year, and they have some cool new products like this mouse here that which really embraces all the different types of devices we might have today. Like, I mean, this does Bluetooth, so in theory you could even you could connect this up to an Android phone. Though I really don't know why I need a mouse on a phone, but you know, if you want to do it, you can do it. And this mouse, it acknowledges that people want the power to do whatever they want to do. They want to be ergonomically supported with something that, you know, they can rest their hand on, and they're not, you know, it's not causing great fatigue. I love this scroll wheel. I really love this wide scroll wheel. I don't feel like it's digging into my index finger, you know, when I'm scrolling on it, and I rest my finger on there all day. And for someone who works on a computer all day, I find that's a really important thing. But anyways, yeah, like overall, I'd have to say this is a recommend. I like the design changes. I like how it functions. I like the software they've included with it. It's all around really solid package, and it's a substantial upgrade if you have the previous version of this mouse. There's some really good improvements. Oh, and you know, save the best for last. The battery life on this mouse is significantly better than the previous edition. Now, in tests I've seen posted by other reviewers, and Logitech's advertised battery life is not perfectly in line with real-world usage unless you're a very light computer user. They kind of take the average between, you know, grandma who uses her computer once a day to check email and the typical office user who's on it for 8 hours. Now, if you're on it for 8 hours, you will get less than advertised battery life, but again, this one has better battery life, bigger. I don't know if the batteries are bigger or if it just is lower power. It probably uses less power. Newer electronics that are designed today are typically power sipping in comparison to the older designs that Logitech would have been using on the previous edition of this mouse. So you get a lot of power savings. You got that built-in lithium-ion rechargeable battery with front port. None of this stuff like the famous Magic Mouse from Apple that had the charging port on the bottom of the mouse. This mouse, I believe it also works with Macintosh computers as well. I did see a link to some download software for that on their website. Anyways, thank you very much for checking out this video. Happy to bring new Logitech products to you all the time. You guys seem to like those, so you know, I'll keep making those videos. Anyways, cheers.